High school. For some of us, it was the peak of our lives. For others, it was a period of great awkwardness and misery. On the plus side, though, you probably never had to get into martial arts fights with gangs over your kidnapped girlfriend. The same apparently cannot be said for Yoshihisa Kishimoto, who took his own particularly violent high school experience and translated it into the Kunio-kun series for video game publisher Technos Japan. It all started with Neketsu Koha Kunio-kun, known internationally as Renegade. This arcade beat-em-up eventually led to the spin-off Super Dodgeball series, as well as a console successor called Downtown Neketsu Story. Evolving a bit from its roots, this entry added RPG elements, giving the main character Kunio and his former rival/teammate Ricky various stats. Enemy gangs would drop coins when defeated, which could be spent at shops for food and books that would enhance the character's skills and teach them new abilities. For its localization, Kunio and Ricky became Alex and Ryan, but the spirit of high school brawls remained intact. The game wasn't a huge seller outside of Japan, and it took years for any further games in the Kunio-kun series to be localized. Still, it gradually developed a cult following and is remembered now as a pivotal entry in the beat-em-up canon. Today, like Rodney Dangerfield and Billy Madison before us, we're going back to school to rescue our girlfriend as we seek payback in River City Ransom. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with two annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda. From adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are
Bad with games. Hooray!
Hooray! We're here. We're bad. Get used to it.
Yeah, this is a good season. Remember, this is episode 2 of our third
All right.
season, which
Let's-
I believe is a good one, right? This is a good season, you said
We don't
last time.
need to keep tracking the progress of
I'm
the
tracking
season every
because
episode.
because this season is good. Remember, you were really happy with me
No,
last time.
I think this is too
and now
much.
you're going to be happy with me again.
We're drawing too much attention to.
No, it's good.
I just think we should.
It's
People
good.
don't want to be thinking about the meta stuff all the time. We should just be going ahead with it, letting it land.
Only
as
when
it
it's
is.
bad we need to, but it's good this time, so we want to draw attention to it.
This week we're talking about River City Ransom, which came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1989, just a few short months before these two podcast hosts were birthed.
Wow. This is basically our brother, this game.
Our brother. No patch notes this week, except just to say that there's some new stingers that you didn't hear last week, but the listeners did. So you can look forward to that.
Oh, I am looking forward to it.
And I'll remind our listeners, if they are listeners, that you can also be a viewer if you want and watch us playing through River City Ransom this week on our YouTube channel at Bad With Games. Or you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Why don't you go ahead, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames as well. If you like us, you can subscribe for bonus goodies and updates over there. And all our socials and other things, our Twitch, our Bluesky, all that good stuff is linked in our show notes. So check it. All right. Now we're going to get on with it. I don't know. I feel underprepared this week, to be honest with you. It was a slightly busier week for me this week. Upcoming week is kind of busy. I wasn't home the whole time, and I don't know. I don't feel like I'm as prepared as I usually am for this show. So I'm sorry in advance for a bad show. I guess I'm contradicting what you said.
No, it's gonna be good because we're on good pace here. We've got a good one to start. So it's gonna be. Listen, you don't need to be that prepared, right? Like it's fine. It's fine, right? We just
I
need.
don't
We can
know.
talk about
We'll
whatever
talk
for
about it.
however long, and it'll be good no matter what we do.
Well, why don't we begin as we almost always do by learning the lore? Learn the lore. River City Ransom, it's a beat 'em up game. It was developed by Technos Japan. And this is actually the third in a series of kunio-kun titles, with the title character being Kunio. But these games were localized differently in the US. A lot of them were never localized at all in the US. And the name that has become more associated with it, the one title that kind of has stuck over the years in America, is River City Ransom, which is what we are talking about. Like I said, it's a beat 'em up wherein you play as Alex and or Ryan, and you need to make your way across town beating up gang bosses because your girlfriend has been kidnapped and is being held hostage on the roof of the high school, and you need to make your way there and rescue her.
Yes.
Uh,
Now, I did discover from your intro, I believe, that these characters were originally this was the titular Kunio-kun and also his former rival Ricky. And I got to say, I wish he'd been called Ricky and not Ryan. It's a better name, and it's not even like there's an American name that works there.
yeah. So, but you're okay with Alex?
I mean, I get it. You got to Americanize. I mean, Alex isn't a great street tough name, but at least the other name you had to Americanize, right? I get that.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if this is one of those games that you had never heard of before this week. Am I correct?
I have heard of this game. I
He's
didn't
heard of
really
it, folks.
know anything about it, but I had heard the name River City Ransom before. And I probably, I'm trying to think, would I have guessed it was a beat 'em up? I probably, like, would I have known enough to say that's what I think it is? I think the answer is yes. But I'm not, I knew basically nothing about this game other than the name. This is a game that exists. You could play it.
It's a catchy title.
It is. Yeah, the
River City
localizers did good on
Ransom.
that.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Um uh, I guess that's the end of your lore then this week.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean
short one.
that is basically the end of my lore. It is interesting to uh learn the game's lore that this was based on an earlier series of like Japanese high school 80s pompadour street tough type things because I feel like that is very much its own specific kind of thing in Japan, right? Like like I used to be an anime guy, and at a certain point in my life around college, I realized that anime pretty much universally sucks and is bad. But I am like very aware of this kind of trope, and like to this day, I will still say good things about like say Yu Yu Hakusho or Cromartie High, which are both like kind of surrounding that trope or archetype. It is interesting. It like kind of makes more sense in a way to think of it in that way because like I don't know, like that feels like it's part of a broader spectrum of I don't know, what do you want to call it?
Media?
Piece media. Yeah, sure. Broader spectrum of media.
Culture?
Whereas like if I were to be like what is okay, you are a high schooler who has to go beat up the other gang member high schoolers who kidnapped your girlfriend, right? To me, I would think that is a joke about a stereotypical beat 'em up from the 80s or 90s, right? Which I guess is stereotypical. It's this one, but in my head, it would be like, yeah, it's not a real thing. It's like it's a joke. It's a stereotype. I mean, maybe it's like a greaser thing because,
Uh-huh.
but whatever. But it is, I don't know, it's interesting. It's interesting. So like there are, I guess what I'm saying is like I do have some kind of like cultural background that I could associate with this game or bring to it, even if I don't even if all I really knew about it was the name.
Yeah, I mean, Double Dragon was kind of the same thing, right? I mean, I don't
I
remember if they're in high school, but it's
Yeah, because that's really the thing, right? Is that in Double Dragon, you're like martial arts guys, and you go to I don't fucking know. There's like guys with guns. You're in like weird temples. It's whereas in this one, it is just like you're walking around the streets of town, beating up other gangs. You go to your high school, right? Like it's very like the other one's a little bit more. I don't know, like you know what I mean? Like it's not this specific thing, right? It's more fantastical, I guess maybe.
I think worth noting that the original Kunio-kun game does predate the original Double Dragon, so that is in many ways sort of the originator. Although the original Kunio-kun game, from what I understand, is closer to Double Dragon. This River City Ransom adds more of the kind of RPG
Hmm.
elements that we'll get into. It is funny how, in spite of how Japanese it really is when you examine it, it
Hmm.
kind of lends itself perfectly to me as an American set game as well.
Hmm.
Like I don't question it when like you said, you're talking about like, greasers, that kind of thing, like a 50s or even like a West Side Story sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like that totally makes sense for us too. But then when you know that it's obviously based in Japan, and then you kind of look at all the character designs and what the settings look like in the game, you're like, oh yeah, it's like very, very Japanese in that sense.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
think a number of elements of that culture were like directly ripped from like Greece, right? That sort
mm,
of thing. So
right.
I think there is some cultural transference there, but yeah, no, the localizers did a good job. I mean, we can talk about that now in the lore because we're not talking about the Japanese version, but yeah, like it does feel American when you play it.
They did change I think the main visual thing is just the outfits. They In the
Hmm.
original game they are wearing like classic Japanese high school uniforms,
Hmm.
which I think they should have just kept them. I don't know. Sometimes it's funny because now I would be very much against that type of localization. I'm like, I want it to be as close to the original vision as possible. I want to experience that, of
Hmm.
course. But something about this era, because it often their localization techniques were so silly and quaint that it's charming
Hmm.
to me, and I actually like it. So I don't know. Sometimes it works
Yeah.
out, but
Yeah, I
you
feel
never
like
know.
there is a difference between like a localization where it's just kind of it feels lame. It feels like you just kind of subbed in some stupid shit and it feels like, oh, you could have just left this alone. Why are you changing it around? And a localization where you do a drastic enough job that it almost feels kind of different. It's like the oh boy, two cakes meme type of thing, right? Or it's like, oh, you actually had a vision for the localization and the game feels different or whatever. I mean, maybe not the game. I don't know about games, but in this
Yeah.
particular case,
I mean, what you don't want is Brock eating a jelly donut,
I
right?
want that.
I mean, maybe that's a good example of. I mean, we like it because it's
No, it's
ridiculous, but
yeah,
it's
no,
not good.
it is yeah, no, I I do agree with what you're saying. I'm
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like the Phoenix Wright series has a lot of Americanization in it that I generally think they did a really good job with. But like again, there is still a part of me that thinks, yeah, but I mean, like I can handle it. I know maybe I feel like at this point in culture,
yeah, they
people are
wouldn't have done that.
educated enough that it's like we can accept that it's in Japan. We're not going to freak out. Our heads won't explode when someone's name isn't Alex or
Right.
something. But at the time, no, that was terrifying. There would have been riots in the streets, like this game. My history with this game, I have played it before, mostly as a sort of co-op. Here's the thing for me and somebody else to kick back on the couch and screw around for a while with type of experience. It's one of these games that I'm sure I had like on the Wii Virtual Console, some one of those things. And so I never really attempted to finish the game. There are a lot of aspects of it that I didn't totally grok, but I always thought it was fun, at least as a little mindless thing to play with a friend. And my other kind of knowledge entry point about it, getting ahead of ourselves, we're covering next week on the Patreon, is the Scott Pilgrim series, which was a lot of the settings, the themes, and the weird rules of that world come were inspired by this game. So that's another way where
Mm.
it's like, oh, the how Japanese it is. It also just translated itself not only to American life but Canadian life as well, and feels almost as home at home in that setting too.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is interesting. I hadn't thought about that because I haven't actually rewatched it for the Patreon yet. But like I did know that movie, and it does make sense in retrospect when you say that it was like very much inspired by this type of thing.
yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it on the Patreon, but there's
Yeah,
lots of
interesting. Yeah, I'll keep that in
overlapping
mind when
elements.
I'm prepping.
Yeah, I think maybe even more so in the original comic, but it's certainly present in the movie as well. Okay. Anyway, that's our lore. Before we get into the game proper, however, there is a
Hmm.
box art that we need to break down. Box art breakdown. We're breaking it down. All right. Let's
Wonder
take
when
a
I'll
look.
get used to those.
Let's take a look at the River City Ransom box art this week. The American box art for the NES, which you can see our lead characters, Alex and Ryan. I presume
Mm-hmm.
they must be because they're in the front.
Mm-hmm. That's them.
One of them's holding a pipe behind his head, a lead pipe, and the other one's got his
Mm-hmm.
arm in like a doing a judo chop, but there's nobody there. I guess
Yeah,
he's
but
just prepping for a judo
yeah,
chop.
he's got like one. His right hand is like he's going for like a an uppercut, and then his left hand is like it's like crossed across his chest. Yeah, he's got like a chop going on, but it's not like well lined up. It's a weird karate move. It's not a real one.
In the background is River City High School and a bunch of gang members, street toughs, who are moving
Hmm.
in on them. And it says River City Ransom at the top. And of course, the word ransom is written like a ransom note magazine cutout with all the letters in a different
Hmm.
color and font. Nice touch.
Now, would you say the River City is kind of in that like the font here sort of reminds me of like that 80s neon sign type of cursive. I don't know if you're getting that vibe.
I maybe if you showed me what you're talking about, but I'm not sure I can conjure
Okay.
that image right now.
Okay. I mean, I might just be wrong here. I'd have to go figure out what I'm thinking of, but
I'm talking about Trouble, right here in River City. What's the
what do you
name of
think
the
of this?
town? Does he say River? Is it? It's not River City, right? In the Music Man, right here in what's the city?
Uh
We got Trouble. You're a big Music Man fan. Is it? It can't be River City. It is. It is
Oh,
River
is it?
City.
Is it
Yeah,
really?
it's River City
Damn.
right
I
here in
didn't
River
okay.
City. Yeah, it didn't come
Well,
into my
there you
head for
go.
no reason. I
Yeah,
knew there
there
was
you
an
go then.
association.
Perfect.
I don't just see something city and immediately start
Yeah.
singing that. Yeah, weird. That's a weird little coinky dink. Anyway, this is a weird box art. It definitely, I think,
Yeah.
harkens back to the sort of NES Mega Man era of, I don't know, we got a guy who kind of
Mhm.
knows how to draw a person, I guess, he arranged
Yeah.
them in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. eh, Like, it kind of looks very like around the edges. If I don't look at the center where the guys are, maybe at like their pants or like the floor, you
Don't look directly
there.
at them.
Yeah, there's like a nice texture here, which really kind of looks like you can see like the medium it was done in that I like. That being said, the
Hmm.
more I get to the center where we're focused on their faces, the more I do kind of agree with the, yeah, maybe he sort of knew how to draw a person type of thing. Like maybe this guy was more of an abstract because these guys in the background look pretty good when I've got these nice like just they're standing there with their in their like Superman pose with the lead pipe. They're looking a little menacing, but you can't really see any details. But then as soon as I've got to get this, like especially Ryan, I think Ryan's the one with like the flat top and the lead pipe. I look at his face and I'm like, oh boy, you really should have stuck to not drawing the details here.
His face is bad. His face
It's
is
not,
really bad.
it's weird. I mean, his eyes aren't symmetrical, and I think that's supposed to be. It's like obviously you're not going to draw him straight down the center because his face is turned, so that you've got to shift him a little bit for perspective. But he's like shifted them too much, so it looks like the left side of our right, his left side of his face is like he's like an Igor type, like his face is lumpy. It's like stuck out to the side a little bit too much.
Yeah. We don't want to. I mean, some people really do look like that in real life, so we shouldn't shame him
Hmm.
too much.
Sure.
There's Igor types out there. They
Sure.
deserve love too. Not from us though. I see what you're saying about the. I don't know what the term would be. It's like a
Mhm.
sketchy, painterly sort
Yeah.
of vibe. Where it almost looks like there's like chalk rubbings or something
Mhm.
on the edges of the characters and the illustration overall, which is kind of a neat effect. I my biggest question about this box art is the the story that it is telling.
Mhm.
Because the two characters are facing us, which makes
Yeah.
sense. You want them like looking at the camera for the box art, but then it looks like behind them the gang members are lining up to beat him, and I'm like, well, I guess maybe you're being surrounded. Maybe we have to assume there's also guys on this
Right.
side of the box, but I don't know. It seems like they're getting ready to fight people who are behind them and facing the wrong way.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this is the real problem. I do think that it looks like, if anything, they are surrounded. For sure, we're supposed to think there's guys like off screen behind the fourth wall here. But when I look at it, because it is framed in this way, now those guys back outside the high school door, they do look antagonistic because they're far enough in the background and they're kind of just standing there. They're kind of like, okay, this fight can happen, but it can't get too close. But these other guys on the left who are like running up, because of the way that they are like kind of coming up behind these two guys while they are looking forward, it looks like those guys are their backup, right? Like it doesn't look necessarily like two lone guys fighting off a whole gang. It looks like two guys who are the head of their gang with their gang behind them ready to back them up, and they're leading the charge, which doesn't quite match what's going on here.
My immediate thought was that it looks like the two guys over there on the right are the bouncers, and that there's a whole lineup of people waiting to get in to fight Alex and Ryan, and that after this group is done, they're going to open the gate and let some more guys in.
Oh, that's
Easy,
good.
easy fix for this would be
Hmm.
move Alex and Ryan back a little, and then you put some guys in the foreground, like facing
Yeah.
them, so that you can see, oh, there's guys everywhere.
Yeah, you know who did that? Doom.
Right.
Just
Right.
compose it like that.
Yeah, it's just every box art just looked like Doom. Now, did you want to talk about the Japanese box art
Not
for this
really.
game? Okay.
I mean, we could if you wanted to.
Well, I
I just,
brought it
I
up
just,
now, so
yeah, sure. It's a lot more, like cartoony and kind of anime-ish, and you can, I
chibi.
mean, the chibi, yeah, for sure. And the characters here are like the most stereotypical, like that archetype you've ever seen in your life.
Yes,
Um,
it is one of the more extreme examples
yeah.
of the changes for we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, it is fun. It is very fun to look at, but it's one of those things that is harder to talk about because the things that would make this, more of an appropriate cover would potentially like those are the things that got localized out, which I didn't get to see. So I don't know.
Hmm. I do like the American box art better. I gotta say, I think honestly, I mean, I'm American, so
Hmm.
biased against a title I can understand because it's in
Mm.
English. But I think the title is better, and I think the art is better here. So Those are my
Yeah.
tastes, though. It
Yeah, I
hasn't been
mean,
shaped.
this is very like Mega Man
Yeah, yeah.
box art, right? Like the when we were looking at, I think it was Mega Man 2 specifically, where I was saying, yeah, I kind of like it. Like there are a bunch of cute little guys on there and they're kind of lined up. And you had said there's really not that much to it other than the fact that they're little guys who are lined up. And that's basically this here. Like I do like all the cute little guys lined up, but there's not, I don't know. It's not spectacular. There's not much more to it than that.
But I like the Mega Man Japanese, the Rockman box art a lot more than this. I think I just don't
Hmm.
really like these character
But
designs. I think they're kind of ugly.
okay. Okay. I mean, listen, I get it. I get it. They are supposed to be like kind of ugly. Like that's
They like
kind of the
don't have
point of the street.
noses. I don't like that shit. I don't like it. They're
You don't
ugly.
like the no noses. Don't
No.
Rockman characters often not have noses?
Yeah, but they're like robots and shit. They're
Mm.
not like humans. I just think they make more sense proportionally. This looks like like a shitty thing I'd see on the outside of a gashapon machine that I don't want.
You know what? That this is the problem. Is that that's exactly what it is, and you're just like fuck gachapon. You just got a
Yeah,
bias here. It's not an unfair
everyone
bias.
should. Yeah. It's not I mean, you can call it a bias or you can call it like an opinion. Like it's my tastes of what I like and what I don't like. You know?
Mhm.
It wasn't like they didn't pay me to say if the other one's good or something.
Right.
All right. Okay, that was great. Let's move on. We've broken down the box art. Now it's time to talk about the game proper. There's still not a name for this segment. If you were expecting
Oh
a
yeah, I
song for
thought maybe I
this,
would get a because I know
no,
there's ones I didn't hear before, so I'm
I
I'm
right,
waiting for them.
but not. I know there's no name for this segment. I can't make a song
Right.
for it.
Hmm.
All right. River City Ransom. We kind of explained what it is, but it's your basic beat 'em up on the NES. You only have your two buttons. So A is punch, B is kick. Press them both at the same time, you jump. And there's also weapons you can pick up. You're moving from screen to screen, fighting guys. They drop money, and when you get into town, you can spend that money at a shop for upgrades to your stats and things like that. We played this game together this week.
Hmm.
And in fact, oh shit, I should have said this in patch notes, but there's going to be you'll get to see our full video of that at our Worst with Games YouTube channel. Patrons will get it early. And also, while you're there, last week we teased it. We also have a Mario 64 video where we played that together after last week's episode. So lots
Yeah.
of cool gameplay stuff going on at Worst with Games on
Yeah.
YouTube.
All you assholes who skipped the intro so you wouldn't hear us plug ourselves here, just too bad for you. You get to listen to it anyway.
Just gonna start doing it every few minutes. So this is one of those games where we can talk about both the solo and the co-op experiences, because I do think this is a game that to me is largely defined by its co-op gameplay,
Mm.
much like Double Dragon was, although the NES Double Dragon did not have co-op. This game does. So I'd say
Hmm.
that's one advantage in their corner. Where do you want to start with this one? Well, I know you played a little bit without me before we went into co-op,
Hmm.
uh, and we almost got to the end of it in co-op. Didn't quite manage to beat it together in our. We all just played in one sitting.
Hmm.
What was your experience with this like going into it versus your expectations and versus playing it with me?
Yeah. I mean, my expectations. I didn't know much because I didn't know much about this game. But
Or maybe
so
just given
going
your
in.
beat 'em up history so
Yeah,
far.
sure, sure. I mean, so going into it, I will say there's two difficulty modes. There's novice and there's like advanced or something. So going into it, I did play on novice, and very quickly, I found myself getting my ass kicked, and not really being sure where I was or where I was supposed to go. Um, that being said, I do think I basically got the premise of it because, when we actually got sat down and played co-op, it became a little bit more clear that um, the world is not particularly big, and at a certain point, a lot of the gameplay revolves around effectively what could be considered grinding, but it's like not supposed to be. Basically, it seems to me that this is not necessarily a game that you are supposed to sit down and play linearly, where you fight a boss to unlock a new area, and then fight a boss to unlock a new area, and then like this is more of a game like that'll happen on a couple of occasions, but for the most part, this is a game where you go around beating guys up, and then if you have enough money, you increase your stats and get more powerful, and then eventually you'll be able to fight a boss and go into a new area. But it feels like a lot of the gameplay, particularly the single player gameplay, where you don't have an extra person to like combo somebody or to take care of a bunch of the enemies on the screen, is just going to be like, oh, I'll sit down and play some River City Ransom for a while. I'll sit down, I'll beat up some guys, I'll go buy some stuff, and maybe at a certain point I'll go try that place over there where I was getting my ass kicked, and then and move on or whatever. Um, so yeah, so that was basically I had like 20 minutes or something like that I played before to get a feel for the controls. I did the whole thing with you, and I did play some more after, but not like a ton because I kind of was just feeling like, all right, sure, I kind of know where this is going, but it's just going to be me coming back to, beat up some guys.
I mean, part of where I feel a little bad is I actually wish we had a chance to have just gone back in and beat the game together.
Mm,
Because we ended up getting basically we died to the second to last boss, and the
hmm
final boss is like in the next room. So we were like right at the final part of the game, and we just didn't quite have the stats or skills required to finish it.
hmm
And I think for us, we would probably just need to spend another like probably not even that long, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes grinding for some money, and then
hmm
go back in there and beat it. And I would have felt good about that. But we didn't quite make it there. I think that your that observation about it you just made is rather astute, I must say. And maybe also kind of one of the reasons that I honestly think I don't know if I ever really unlocked what you're talking about in my own mind, and that maybe this has been a little bit of a wall between me and this game over the years of kind of wanting to treat it more like a Double Dragon, where it's more of a
mm,
go from beginning to end and just follow the plot and the fights linearly. But you're right, it definitely is more the kind of thing that you're meant to kind of discover things organically as you play. I mean, for us, there were multiple areas with bosses where you have to fight a bunch of enemies before the boss will appear, or you have to have beaten a previous boss for the boss to appear. And if
hmm
you don't know that, then you can get lost and not really know what to do.
yeah.
Uh, but and that's why I think the intention is that it's just kind of you go, oh, like we play a little River City Ransom. It's a password system. There's no save system, but you write your password down when you're done. And then you come back and you're like, I don't know, did we like beat the game yet? I don't know. Let's just go back to those other areas. And sooner or later, you get a little stronger and you go, oh, there was a boss here we didn't get. And little by little, you make progress that way, which I
hmm
think is almost like in a very, if I'm being very charitable towards it, it's almost like a Grand Theft Auto open world
Oh, interesting.
precursor of like, because you can go anywhere at any
Yeah.
time and explore, right?
Yeah, that's
Technically.
basically true. I think there are like one or two bosses that like you have to beat Moose, but he's pretty easy. And then there's like maybe one more like Otis or something that unlocks something, and then Ivan blocks the school.
Right,
But like
right.
it's not that, it's not really. Like each one of these is unlocking massive areas with like multiple different locations and shops and other bosses that you kind of have to backtrack to beat,
If we ever get
that
to
kind of thing.
Shenmue, it's almost more like Shenmue.
Mm. Yeah, the vibe I was getting off of it was like honestly, I was getting like flash game vibes, like some just
Hmm.
very simple controls, a small amount, because you say it's an open world and it kind of is, but it's very small, honestly. There's not
It is
that
quite
much there.
small.
So just like walk back and forth between the screen, like this idea of like I'm gonna sit down for 15 minutes and just play my thing where my little guy beats up other guys and gets some money, and then I'll go buy some stuff and his stats will be better. And if I do that little 15 minutes sit down for enough days, then eventually I'll be stronger and I can go beat this guy type of thing.
Yeah, it seems like at first I feel like the world seems big
Hmm.
because I think mostly because a lot of areas look similar. And when I also, maybe it's again just because I'm playing a beat 'em up game and I haven't trained myself to be paying attention to where I am because usually it doesn't matter. So
Hmm.
then by the time I'm like, oh, I don't know where to go, it's like I'm kind of turned around and, oh, which mall is this versus that mall? It seems like kind of a sprawling world. There's like areas you can go into the background to find a different section to be in. But then if you actually just go, well, now that I've played the game and I can like go from A to B basically in I don't even know 2 minutes, probably.
Hmm.
It's very easy to make it back and forth once you've cleared out enough enemies, and also helps that a lot of times you can just skip past the enemies. Whereas when
Yeah.
you're first playing, you're spending a lot more time fighting everybody, so you're like, oh, it took me a while to get through that section. It's like, well, that's because you were
Hmm.
doing stuff. You could just move if you want to.
Yeah, I mean this is really what it kind of comes down to, because we you were saying, and this is true, that we probably could have just grinded enough to beat the game if we had spent 20 to 30 minutes doing nothing but grinding. And that kind of sounds like it sucks if what you are trying to do is just make progress and beat the game. And it really does feel to me like the point of this game is the grinding. Because the grinding in this game is you get to punch dudes, right? I'm fighting dudes. So if you're just like it feels like the reason that we run into that wall is because you think this is a beat 'em up and you say, okay, so this is like Double Dragon. The point is to get to the final boss and win. But in this, because it's got these RPG elements, it becomes almost purely beat 'em up, where it's like the point of this is to go beat up guys. Right? The point of this is to go find a bunch of grunts and beat them up because I like beating up grunts. And as it turns out, that gets me stronger or whatever. Rather than the point of this being to specifically get to the end and beat the boss. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that was really where we ran into the problem, is that the game maybe isn't designed for two people to just like pick it up and clear through it in a single setting or a single session the way that like a Double Dragon is.
Right. To me, it's almost more like a Toe Jam and Earl type of thing, where it's like this is a game to just throw on and you can hang out while you're playing this game,
Mhm.
as opposed to
No,
the game being the main event, if that
interesting,
makes
because
sense.
I Toe Jam and Earl's another game that
Yeah.
I like know the name of, but don't really know like what it is or know anything about it.
Yeah.
Presumably, you will teach me someday.
Yeah, perhaps someday. I feel like there's a genre of certain co-op games that are kind of just like hang out and chill co-op
Hmm.
games. It is interesting thinking of it in the sense of grinding in this game
Hmm.
because it's all it's almost less like grinding in an RPG and more like grinding, quote unquote, in a Zelda game of, well, I need
Hmm.
rupees, so I just got to go kill a bunch of enemies to get the rupees that I need. But unlike a Zelda game and unlike a Final Fantasy game, there's no dungeons and there's no story and there's no side quests and there's no
Yeah.
puzzles. Like the only thing to do if you're not spending money is fight guys and getting money. So I think it feels less like grinding because it's like,
Yeah.
well, what else am I gonna? There's literally nothing else to do. That's what I'm here for, is to punch people.
Yeah. Now, this is the other interesting thing, is that um like Double Dragon feels very wrong to play by yourself, right? Like it's Double Dragon. There's two of them, right? Like you're supposed to sit down with a buddy and beat him up. I think that's less true in this game. You have to do a lot more grinding, I think, to really make progress without a second person. But also, what else were you gonna do? So
Yeah.
like it feels more. Like, it is fun to do this with another person, and then you, like, help each other or get mad at each other or do
Mhm.
whatever, it's fine, but, and it is fun, but I also think that this lends itself better to just, like, I own this at home and I could pick it up and play a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, certainly more so than the arcade Double Dragon, which is
Yeah.
like we all know my feelings about that game.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, let's talk about the RPG stuff because that's the big differentiator that
Mhm.
changes this game from like if that was not in this game, we probably would not be talking about it because it
Yeah.
would just be a Double Dragon clone like all the other ones you've seen over the years. And but here there's shops. And not it's not just one shop and it's not just oh buy your stats. It's part of the charm of the game is that you're going into real or facsimiles of real stores. So it's like the burger shop, the bookstore, the sauna, and
Mhm.
I think that's part of what also gives me the Grand Theft Auto Shenmue kind of vibes. Is that I think there's very few games at this time that are really putting you in a real ish place. You're usually
Mhm.
in a fantasy world or it's sci-fi or something bizarre or it's like very abstracted. But here it's you're at the mall. You left the high school, you're going to the mall, you're buying some sushi,
Mhm.
which actually in 1989 that was probably pretty weird. I'm surprised they didn't localize
Yeah,
that.
they shoulda localized that, that's crazy. Do you think they were
But
still eating, corn cobber in Japan?
yeah, like,
Or is
Japan
that a
loves the corn cobber. I think that's part of the fun of it is if that makes it feel different from other games. It makes it feel like, oh, this is relatable in a strange
Mhm.
way. And like I said, the just the all the RPG stuff, the fact that you're buying food and it's actually giving you stats,
Mhm.
that's the secret sauce that actually makes this thing worth talking about at all.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it because on the one hand, I don't like in these kinds of RPG things where you are, trying to get items and grind them out. One thing that I don't like about a lot of these early games, including the especially biggest offender, the Final Fantasy series, is when you have all these different things with different stats and it doesn't fucking tell you any of it. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, do I want this or do I want this? What do I want? And this does have that in spades, where it's like, okay, do I want a cookie or do I want a steak or do I want the corn cobber or do I want to read some pamphlet or do I want like and there's literally like hundreds of these. There's got to be at least dozens for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It might be like in the range of 100, something like
Yeah.
that.
It's a lot. And none of them tell you like what they do. Now, to be
Until
fair,
you
the
buy them.
manual
When you
until
buy
you
them, they
buy
do
them.
tell yeah.
When now that is the one nice thing is that A, they do tell you when you buy them. And B, because this game is not so much about making progress as it is about beating up guys and then using the money on stuff. I think the fact that there are so many can like, you can just be like, "I'm gonna go get a steak. I'm getting a steak," and then you get stat boosts, and you kind of like, I think that's really the issue is that if you're trying to boost a specific stat to do something, I think that that could be annoying. Like, there was a point where we wanted to boost agility, and we were like, "Where the fuck do we go? What do we do? How do I do this?" But if you are not trying to do anything, you're just trying to stat up, then maybe it's kind of immersive and nice to be like, yeah, you get passive stat boosts for doing stuff. So just, have fun. Go to your favorite restaurant. I'm just hanging around River City. That's what I do. I'm a street tough and I go get my chicken. I go get my sushi and whatever. It's fun.
My
And hey, look at that,
cigarettes.
my stats got better. And I think the only ones that you really will always want to know what they do um, are the books that give you extra moves. And to be fair, I do believe that those are all listed in the manual, or at least the like basic like stone fist and dragon kick or whatever. stuff, those are listed in the manual, so you know, like, oh,
Yeah,
these
they're all
books
in
will
there.
give you an extra move.
It's also, I think, they're a little more obvious. Like, even if you didn't read the manual, you might not quite know what stone hands is, but you
Mhm.
know it's a book and not food. And
That's
you know it's expensive, so I
mm.
feel like it like gives you a hint that, oh, this is kind of a bigger deal than
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, that is fair. There were like $15 books that didn't give me moves. They gave me
That's
stats, but
true. That's true.
these were like $27 books or what. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. It is true that this is a hint that these are really good, but I do appreciate that the game somewhere or other tells you like, okay, listen, if you're trying to get a new move, go do this. Otherwise, just eat stuff, you'll get stats, who cares? Doesn't matter. You'll be better
Correct.
either way.
There is also a shoe shop, which I don't think we found,
I don't remember a shoe shop. We must not have seen it.
but I know there's like Texas boots are one of the best items in the game. I was reading, so they're at the shoe shop. Um, yeah, I think the Final Fantasy comparison is apt. I think I much more readily forgive it in this game
Mhm.
because it is so much smaller and simpler. Whereas in Final Fantasy, it's like not knowing what an item does there, because every town you
Yeah.
come to has a dozen new items and you have very limited funds and you have limited inventory space, and some of those items aren't just not as good as what you have, sometimes they're cursed and they hurt you and you have no
Mhm.
idea what to do to deal with that type of thing. And because the game is so big and sprawling, that can be really, really frustrating. Whereas here, no, there's no food that's going to make you barf and get sick, first of
Right.
all. And because there's relative, even though we said like, oh man, there's like 100 food items, relatively speaking, you're going to go back and forth between the like 3 mall areas that there are. And if you're
Mhm.
playing with a buddy, between the two of you, you go like, "Oh, I'll buy this, you buy that." Sooner or later, you'll get a pretty decent idea of what you want and what does what, at
Yeah.
least vaguely.
Yeah, not
Um,
to mention that you don't necessarily need like a build, right? It's not like you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
chicken
yeah.
burger guy now. Oh, but do I maybe want to be the T-bone steak guy? I don't know. I better go try that. No, I don't like. Let's go back. Like you can eat both. Every time you eat one, you get better. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to like. If you fuck it up, it doesn't matter because what does that? That just means that you were inefficient, and that means you're gonna have to beat up more guys to be good. But like that's all you were doing anyway was beating up guys. So who cares? It's fine.
Right. There's no, you can't really min max. I don't know if you,
Yeah.
I mean, you can like optimize by saying, I know which
Yeah.
items are the best and only buy those first.
Yeah. You can speed run it, but outside of that, there's no min maxing. It's just maxing. I can just keep eating. I can keep eating forever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. There's no downside to it. And it almost seems like that's part of the fun of the game.
Hmm.
If you had this as a kid, that would be some of the replay value in the appeal is like, oh yeah, I guess I managed to beat it by just buying a bunch of random stuff. But next time I play with my buddy, I can tell him, oh yeah, you got to get this kind of chicken. That's the good chicken.
Hmm.
And we'll really, or oh, you got to get stone hands because that's gonna make your life a lot
Yeah.
easier working with that.
Yeah. And again,
Um,
at least Stone Hands is in the manual. So it's like
yeah, yeah.
whatever. That one's not even like locked behind having a friend in real life.
How do you feel about the combat itself? Because it is very, very simple.
Hmm.
Again, there's 2 buttons. There's not really such a thing as a combo in this game.
Hmm.
I guess you can do like I mean, if you look in the manual, it's funny because they have all these different things you can do that's like to jump, to sprint, to
Hmm.
use a weapon, to throw an enemy, to pick up an enemy, to throw a weapon, blocking, kicking a weapon, sprinting, high jump. And it's like, oh wow, it seems like there's so much you can do in this game, but
Hmm.
all of them are like, just press this button at this
Yeah.
time. It's the same button, and you'll basically just punch them. It's the same thing, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that there are a lot of weapons, and I like that you can pick up people and throw them and hit other guys with weapons. That's all fun. I like that you can jump on top of your allies. That's fun. I don't know how useful they are, but they are very fun things to do. Like that does lend itself to just doing goofy stuff with your buddy if you are sitting down with somebody. I also liked one thing that I was worried about when I first looked at the manual was that um okay, it's like A is kick, or A is punch, and B is kick. A and B is jump. And when I read that, my first thought was, I'm gonna be punching when I meant to jump. Like I'm gonna try to press A and B at the same time, and I'm gonna do it slightly off sync, like because I'm bad and my thumb's not good, and I'm just gonna punch, and I'm gonna get fucked up because of that. But as it turned out, A doesn't really matter because in a fight you're usually just punching anyway. Jumping is more for fun. When it's not, it's kind of annoying because the geometry is kind of bad. But jumping is more just for fun, and actually it's very responsive. Like it's easy. It's not hard for me to do. And B, it doesn't matter because I'm not trying to do it when I'm gonna get hit anyway. Um, the other thing I discovered is that like weapons are pretty decent until you get like an upgrade, but they're not amazing. The ones that give you extra reach, like the pipe and the chain, are pretty decent. But if you're not really getting extra reach off of them, I don't know that they're doing that much for you. Like for me, I found that like first of all, the best strategy is just to get like a stone hands type upgrade because that's just way better than anything else you can be doing. But also be and even before you get that, it seemed to me that um like and I discovered this kind of before we even played together. Like you'd walk around and you'd try to get close to an enemy so that you could punch them and they just keep backing up and then they dart in and hit you first. And you'd be like, what the fuck? And so pretty quickly I found that actually the best strategy was to do that same thing back. Like you should be in starting every fight by sprint right up to them and hit them before they hit you and then just keep hitting them. Right? Like if they get the first hit in, they're gonna combo you because you'll have to get up and then they'll hit you again, and then you'll get up. But if you get the first hit in, you get to do that. So just like close the distance quickly before they can back up and then hit. And that's basically the only real strategy other than get the moves.
Yeah, supposedly there's multiple different gangs, and
Mhm.
each type of NPC in the gang does have their own fighting style, but most of them are more like these ones like to use weapons and these ones don't. These ones will
I
throw weapons.
didn't really notice.
Yeah,
They didn't they weren't different enough.
these ones have like the stronger punches.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's maybe it's more apparent if you're playing on the harder difficulty and you have to
Mhm.
like deal with that stuff. But for the most part, especially if you're upgrading yourself, it's more important how you deal with them
Yeah.
than how they deal with you.
Yeah, like I noticed when enemies hit harder or took more hits, but in terms of all the things that were like, they're more likely to use weapons, they're more likely to fight unarmed, they're more likely to run away. I was like, I don't know if I noticed any of
Yeah.
those differences
I
in
mean,
behavior.
it's something. Like I'm glad they
Yeah.
at least gave them some different behavior and you're not just literally fighting the same dudes the whole game.
I mean, I did love, which happened multiple times, every time a bad guy would pick up his ally to throw at us, and then would get scared. So what he would actually do is pick up his ally and then run away off screen.
I don't even
Those are
know.
always good.
I don't know if they were even going to throw. I think it was like, we got to get out of here. I'm going to help my buddy
Mm.
and take him
I
away.
I mean, I assumed that that was what was happening behind the scenes in the coding was that they picked up their buddy to attack and then they decided they were scared. Because I
There is,
figured
at
if they
l-
were scared, why are they picking up their buddy? Why wouldn't they just leave? But maybe you're right. I don't know.
I don't know. I know at least in the description of the frat guys says they will run away as soon as they think they are in danger. So there, that is a part. At least running away is part of the
Yeah.
programming sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty. The gangs, by the way, are the generic dudes, frat guys, jocks, homeboys. Is that racist? I'm not
I
sure.
was wondering about that. The description seems to be that by homeboys they mean homebodies.
Hmm.
Like, when I read the description, it was like, they mostly like to sit on the couch, so they're kind of lazy or something. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's not what that word means, but okay. If
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. They also fight the mob. That's not racist. And internationals is another. It's a
That
group
one
of
might be
exchange
racist.
students.
That's what I've
It
been
is
saying.
funny.
We've been calling him Ivan, but I'm pretty sure it's Ivan because I'm pretty sure he's actually a Russian.
I don't. I still am going to say Ivan. I don't care how he says it. What's Russia really
Friends with
called?
Boris.
They don't call it Russia, right? I don't respect them. Anyway, um, yeah, I kind of I wish the weapons were more important because it is true once. So we didn't really explain it too much, but these
Mhm.
new abilities that you can buy from the books, the main ones are stone hands and dragon feet, which one is for your punching, one is for your kicking, and they just make
Mhm.
it so you can do way more punches and kicks in succession. So it's much
Mhm.
harder for the enemy to respond to it. Way harder for them.
Yeah.
There's a few others. There's like one that lets you hit a weapon back. There's one that lets you just walk on them if they're on the ground and hurt them. There's one that lets you flip in the air and do an attack that way. But it's really like I feel like stone hands and or dragon feet are the two you want to successfully get through this game easily. And once you get those, it's like there's not much reason to pick up a weapon anymore. But I like picking up weapons. To me, that's way more
Mhm.
fun. That's and interesting to grab a weapon and be smacking someone with it than just with my fists. You can raise your weapon stat, so I guess maybe theoretically, if you eat the right things, you could just be a weapon using guy.
Mhm.
Don't know, but
There should
aside
be a
from
weapon
that,
master book or something, right? To give
yeah,
you special weapon powers, make it
yeah,
fair.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, I agree. There should
Maybe
be.
that's what Javelin Man was.
But I
There
guess
was a book called that.
you can throw the weapons. Like they do have their
Yeah,
advantages. Javelin Man lets you pick up an enemy and throw him at someone else, and they'll like run away. Is what it says.
but you can already pick up an enemy and throw him. I guess
One
he
who's
won't run
on the
away.
floor, and I
Oh, so
guess
you can just pick up any enemy with Javelin Man
yeah,
or
and
something.
maybe it makes them run away by default
I
too.
don't
I'm
know.
not sure. But like we said, the combat is. I do wish there were a couple more. Like even I don't even think there really is a jump kick. Like you can jump and then
Mhm.
kick, but I don't believe it's any different than if you were to stand there and kick.
Yeah.
Like I wish, like Double Dragon on the NES, I do think had slightly more actual techniques that were a little more interesting to me. I don't know if you recall, by the way, Double Dragon also did have the A/B jump thing. I don't remember if you had difficulty with it
I
or not.
do sort of remember that. I think it wasn't too bad on the Double Dragon. I do sort of remember that that was the case, and I think it wasn't too bad, but I think I might have messed it up once or twice. Now, how much of that is because I've been streaming Mario with that controller and getting better at A and B simultaneously, and how much of that is that these controls are just better? I don't know.
It is. I mean, it's weird. There's no, there's no denying that pressing the two buttons at once to jump is less than ideal.
Hmm.
It's you really can feel them hurting for a third button,
Hmm.
which yeah, like you can't do up because you actually can move up. I don't know what would be a better alternative. I think you pretty much did the best you could to
Yeah,
adapt this
yeah. I
style
mean,
of
it's.
game.
I did not have a problem with
Yeah.
the jump. Yeah. I mean, one of the things about this that does work for me in a way that Double Dragon kind of doesn't is that I feel like conceptually I just don't understand beat 'em up combat. Like you go up to the guy and you just hit and you just like trade blows or something. And it's really hard for me to tell like we both ran up to each other and pressed punch and one of us got punched and knocked down and I don't know like why I beat the NPC that time and why I didn't beat the NPC the other time. Like I don't like I feel like there's something and the answer is probably that it's too simple and I'm looking for
Yeah.
complexity where there is none. But
The
like to
answer
me
is
it
you're
just
not
feels like
supposed to ask that question. You're supposed to
yeah,
just
like I
punch.
just I just don't get it. And so like saying like in Double Dragon like, "Oh, you get extra moves." I'm like, "But I don't even understand the basic punch. How am I supposed to even deal with these extra moves?" Whereas the RPG elements kind of work for me because I can say like, "Oh, well, but the difference now is that now, before we'd punch each other kind of equally, but now I punch him twice and he's dead, and if he punched me 10 times I'd be dead, as opposed to, because I've got more defense than I used to and more attack
Yeah.
than I used to. So that makes sense to me. So I feel like in some ways I would prefer to get better stats than more moves in a beat 'em up because at least then I get what's happening somehow.
I hear where you're coming from. I do think the stats upgrade stuff does improve the game, at least compared to Double Dragon.
Mhm.
And yeah, but I mean that I do think this is very typical of you just wanting to understand things all the time, like a nerd. And I do think, generally speaking, the beat
Mhm.
'em up genre is not there for
Yeah,
you to
right.
understand. It's
Right.
it's there for you to go to like not pay attention. It's a mindless genre to me.
Yeah. I want
Uh,
numbers. I want to
like
play a spreadsheet is what I
like
want.
this is the game I pick when I don't want to think about stuff. That's my desire.
Mhm.
If I
Mhm.
wanted to think about stuff, I would play, like Bayonetta or something, which I'm bad at because it's harder. It's more
Mhm.
complexity that I gotta understand, and I don't want to. We'll see when we maybe play some different beat 'em ups this season. Little tease
Whoa.
how those might compare. I know. Let's see what else about this game. It is generous in the sense that if you die, you just reset your position, but you lose
Mhm.
half your money, which that can suck. But you don't lose any of your stats or your progress.
Mhm.
So basically, even if you're bad at the game, and even if you are struggling to get money, some of the items are so cheap that as long as you just
Yeah.
keep on playing, and even if you only get like a few bucks each time you get to a shop,
Mhm.
eventually you will get better and you will be able to beat the
Yeah.
game.
I do think that the primary strategy of this game, interestingly, is very spreadsheet oriented. Like the strategy of this game has nothing to do with punching and kicking, right? Like, oh, what is the best strategy for beating bad guys? That's not. You're focused on the wrong thing. I feel like the primary strategy for this game is um spending all of your money before you die. So this idea of saying like, when am I thinking like I'm pretty close to buying something expensive? I need to hold out and not buy a bunch of cheap items to up my stats because I want to be able to afford a book versus saying, I think that I'm not going to make it, so I need to spend all of my money. Like, best case scenario in this game is that you die all the time, but you always die with 50 cents to your name because you just happened to spend all of your money in town right before you went out there and died. And so you always spent all of it on items. That's like the best way to do well in this game, which is very interesting to me. Like that it feels like if you're going to come at it with a strategy that it's just not beat 'em up focused at all. It's like it's it's based on managing your money amount versus your health amount or like your projected skill level. Like you could be really bad at the game, but if you know exactly how bad you are and can predict when you die, that's actually way better than being better at the beat 'em up section, but not really having a good sense of like when you're gonna die.
I mean, this is the same strategy I talked about in games like Zelda 2 and was it a Dragon Quest? Where
Mm,
it's because it's like when you die, you lose your experience. So it's like it's almost like a push your luck mechanic. How far
mhm,
can I go before I know I'm getting close to death and I gotta head back and cut my losses and spend what I can? Or do I think, I have enough health, a few more guys, I could just hang out and do a little more fighting and get that book that I want.
yeah.
Yeah, and that could be fun.
Yeah, no, I was pretty pleased in fighting alongside you. I think both of the times that I bought a book, I died like literally the screen after I bought it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's timing right there, baby.
I
But
think probably playing by yourself, you could also get through the game quicker because you're not divvying up all the loot between two players. As long as you, I mean, you
it's
got to fight them all,
yeah, it's
but
hard to say because on the one hand you're right, but on the other hand you do like I don't know. What I found was that like yeah, well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say what I found because I didn't do that much post post playing together. I just did a little bit more to be like, okay, now that I kind of know is like let's do a couple loops here, sure, whatever. Um and yeah, I mean like it did feel like maybe it's cuz I got reset on all my stats cuz I wasn't as far, but it did feel like you have to do more grinding. You know what I mean? I guess that's really the issue here is that it's like what does it mean by harder? Because it's like I need to grind more in order to get to the same point, but I also will have a harder time grinding without dying because there's not a second guy there. But also I get more loot. And it's either way you're fighting guys. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
You're fighting guys.
it kind of evens out. A lot of it maybe depends on play style too, because
Mhm.
some people might just be, I want to kill every enemy on every screen as I move through,
Mhm.
and you get there with a bunch of money, or you're like, I don't want to be here. I want to go to this area first, and then do this, and you have
Mhm.
less money. Or I know there's spots that we talked about that are better for grinding, that are like right next to a town, so you can kind of make the game a little easier for yourself that way if you want early on. From what I've read, there's like a few items that are pretty easy to
Yeah.
get. I mean, even us two dummies not doing any kind of real optimization almost beat this game in under 3 hours
Yeah.
together. So it's
Yeah.
like it's pretty beatable by
I mean,
anybody.
the bosses are much easier with two people because you can just do the
That's
thing
probably
we did
true.
where like one guy on one side, one guy on the other side, we both just beat him constantly and he doesn't have a chance to like get away.
Right.
Whereas with one guy it's hard to get him looped like that and then they zip around the screen and go crazy and whatever. So you do have to I felt like you had to be stronger to progress. But yeah, I mean, it's either way you're beating guys up. It doesn't really matter. The main
You're beating guys up.
strategy that I'm kind of interested in is so you start off with almost enough money to buy a book. And my immediate thought was, yeah, sure, that's true, but I'm probably just going to die a lot because I didn't do too good. So, like, fuck it. The first thing I'm going to do is spend all of this money to get some stat boosts because whatever. But I feel like if you've played a little bit, it is probably better to just assume you won't die and try to get a book so that you can have
Yeah.
a move as soon as possible. But even that does still come down to that fundamental question of like, do you think you can get two screens without dying? Is if you
hmm
don't, you should just spend it all on food until you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the move has to be buy a book ASAP. I think even if your stats
Mhm.
aren't that good, just having Dragon
Yeah.
Fist or whatever is
But
gonna
again,
carry you.
yeah, if you start at $22 and a book is $27 or whatever, and you go out there and you're like, I just need to grind out five more dollars, and you die before that, and now you have $11.
Just don't
Well,
die.
now you're not going to get the book. Yeah, I mean that is the real issue. But that's the whole point is that you have to make an accurate assessment on whether you think you cannot
Or
die.
you can still like if you know, oh, I can get this health item that's like a $2. That's
Mhm.
enough for me to go back out there. So you're not like
Right,
so you do a little bit of buying
right.
along the
But you do
way.
have to know because like not all the items give you health, so you kind of have to already
Yeah.
know what you're doing at that
A
point.
lot of
It's
them do though. I think most of the
mhm.
food does in addition to stats. Um,
Yeah, I can't even tell.
I mean, this is the thing
Sometimes it
that
does.
I still don't understand about
Yes.
this game is the difference between you have multiple stats in this game. You have all these different
Mhm.
things. You have, strength, weapon, agility, defense, punch, kick, throwing. These all make sense to me. Then you
Mhm.
have willpower, stamina, and max power. Now,
Yes.
okay,
Willpower, I understand.
I guess willpower is just if you die, there's a chance you get back up.
Mhm. And the higher
Okay.
your willpower, the more likely you'll do it. Yeah.
So I guess I understand willpower. So I guess it's really just, yes, stamina, I think, is like the bar at the top, which is your health. But I don't actually know. I'm going to read it from the manual. Stamina, it says, this shows how much stamina you have left. Great first sentence. That really helps
Thanks.
right out the gate. Make sure you don't run out or you'll die.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sounds like it's
that's
health.
stamina's health. Yep. Okay.
Here's what max power says. This shows how much of your maximum power is left. If this number remains high, you will gain stamina more easily and be able to fight longer.
So max power. The way that is phrased, it implies to me that stamina is health, and max power is how much health you get from eating food. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know that that's
guess.
true, but that's what that implies to me.
Yeah,
Did,
that
did you
does sound like it.
did that feel right? I mean, to be fair, I'm thinking now because you're saying most food gives you stamina, and I was like, I don't know that that's true. And when we were playing together, you did consistently have much higher max power than me. So maybe that's why I thought food didn't give you that much stamina, is because I didn't have as much max power.
Huh. I
I wonder
feel
if these
like,
names made more sense in Japanese.
I don't know. Maybe it's just what we happen to be buying, but I feel like
Yeah,
a common thing was stamina and max power. At least like, that's what the
yeah,
sauna did, for sure. The sauna
yeah,
was those two things. I
yeah.
don't know. But is there any, it just says you will gain stamina more easily. Is there any other way to gain stamina besides food? I don't think so.
Good question.
It's so, why they could have just shown a
Yeah.
picture of the screen and with an arrow saying this is your stamina.
Yeah. It's funny because this is only an issue if you're trying to like really get into the RPG element numbers, because otherwise it's like the game makes sense, right? There's a bar at the top, and if it
Yeah.
runs out you die, and when you get hit it runs lower, and sometimes when you eat food or go to the sauna or do things, you restore some of that bar. Okay, that makes perfect sense. The only issue is that it keeps popping up and saying your stamina increased, your max power increased. Here's what these numbers are. And you're like, what do they represent? If they didn't show you anything under the hood there, you wouldn't even care. You'd just be like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works. But then on
Ag-
the other hand, I like the fact that they're showing you these numbers. So now,
yeah. Agility is kind of the other big,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, even, I guess they all make sense to me, but yeah, agility, being able to jump higher can also really help, and how fast you move can really
Mhm.
help. I think that's why, like I said, people say the Texas boots are sort of a very strong item because they give you a huge agility boost.
Mm.
And being able to like zip around the screen, probably even just as one person, really gives you an advantage.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, because like you should be. It seemed to me like you should be sprinting as much as possible in this game.
Yeah. Sprinting, which by the way is you just double tap the
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the interesting thing about it though is that if you double tap the direction, you just start sprinting. Um, and what I mean by that is like normally if I hold right, I move right, and if I let go of right, I stop moving right. If you double tap to sprint right, you will keep moving right until you do
That's true.
something, even if you
Yeah.
let go. And sometimes this causes problems.
That it took me a while to even realize that because I was just, I think, changing direction
Yeah.
automatically and like unconsciously. And then the one time I didn't do it, I was like, what the fuck? I just sliding
Yeah.
down the screen.
No, almost always I was double tapping into holding right because that just feels right to me. But occasionally I didn't do that and I was like, wait, I'm still moving? What the fuck? What's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, yeah, pretty good, pretty good. My other, I think the other big frustration we ran into in this game
Hmm.
is you can run into walls.
Hmm.
It could just be the edge of the screen.
Yeah,
It
sometimes there's
may
not even a
be,
wall there.
yeah, maybe it's a fence or a closed door. And if you touch the edge, your character gets hurt
Yeah.
and flies back onto his back.
Now, you only get hurt if you sprint into it. If you just walk into it, you won't.
Oh, but you still do fly back. I
I
definitely moved
Okay.
slowly into walls and flew back. I definitely wasn't
Are
sprinting
you
all the
sure? Because I
time.
feel like there were times where I went up against the edge slowly because I saw you get hurt and then I didn't. get
I
hurt.
maybe I'm wrong, but I remember
I
being
don't
like
know.
right next to the wall and testing it. So why would I sprint if I was that close to it? I feel like I would just walk into it unless I was doing it by accident.
Yeah,
I
not
just know it
sure.
happened all the fucking time. And I don't
Yeah,
think I was as sprint happy as you.
yeah, no, it did happen all the time. I mean, that is really the frustrating thing is that you get hurt and sometimes you die. The number of times that I died because I ran into a wall,
It's
annoying.
so
But
stupid.
it
It's
is. I mean,
so stupid.
I do like that if you run into a wall, you get knocked back and fall over. It's funny, but like, it's hard enough to control your character, and it is often difficult to tell where you are with the geometry of the game or like what even is a wall. Like sometimes it's like, is that a background detail or is that a pillar you can run into? Like bleachers in the school you can run into or something, and it's not
Yeah. Or is that a
clear.
door I can walk in, like a path I can actually
Yeah,
move inside of? Maybe
yeah,
not.
is that edge of the screen that has nothing there, it's just a street that goes off to the side, is that like every other one that I can just run through, or will I die if I hit it? Um, yeah, it is annoying when it hurts you to do that. So that I did find that annoying, and also some of the, like, jumping up and down boxes was obnoxious, mostly
Yeah.
just because it was like, okay, if you aren't far enough back, you'll miss the box, but if you're too far back, you'll hit the ledge that the boxes are under, and it's hard to tell when you're at the right distance. It's just it's weird.
It is quite weird and can be very frustrating in some of those parts.
Mhm.
The real advantage of playing with two players is that if one guy dies, you can walk outside the door and they'll
Yeah.
instantly respawn with full health again.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that is a
so
huge advantage. You don't
you
have to
s-
start at the beginning of the game when you die.
right. You still will lose your money, which sucks. But if your goal is just if you're already like decently upgraded and your goal is just to get
Mhm.
to the end of the game, you can definitely abuse that. Whereas you cannot as one player. You better just stay alive. You can
Yeah.
buy some food to go, and
Mhm.
we were sort of confused, but I'm pretty sure some of those at least will boost your stamina if you eat them. So
Yeah, it is kind of weird because there's a lot of stuff to go, and then I'd eat it and it'd be like, "Oh, buff to your agility," and I don't see any stamina increase, so why did I get it to go? I don't know, but
yeah, there are if you are so inclined, there at least are guides online. Uh and I'm sure at the time you could buy the Nintendo Power to figure out what they
Mhm.
do. Or again, you just eat them all once and, sooner or later you'll get it. You'll
Yeah,
find
you
something
figure
that
it
you
out.
need. Which is your favorite gang and character member? Are you a Mojo guy? Do you like Rocco?
Hmm.
Which one do you think you
I feel like
would accept you as a member? Obviously, that we're both homeboys.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean,
You might be a
I liked the
jock.
big forehead NPCs that would fight you. I liked them a lot. Pretty big fan. Now
Actually,
I know you didn't like the weird toad people in town.
I didn't like some of the weird toad people. The other NPCs you see in town are like very. They look like Shin Chan characters. They're just like schoolgirls with bright, shiny anime eyes, like Sailor Moon. That is again, that's another aspect of it that is cool, that you're in the shopping center and there's no fights there. You see
Mhm.
non-fightable NPCs that just gives the game a little more life and makes you feel like,
Mhm.
oh, this is a real place, as opposed to in Double Dragon, you're just okay, screen one punch, screen two punch. There's never any perception that this world is cohesive or makes sense.
Yeah.
But here it's like, no, it's like it kind of does. Like there's the warehouse, there's that bridge, like there's a map you could draw that does make sense as to a layout of a place.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the things that makes all of the different crap that you can buy so much better is that, okay, there's types of shops, right? There's like a sushi place and like a meat place and like a bookstore and like a cafe and like a pastry shop or whatever. And they're kind of in every town, but it's not the same thing. Like the fact that you go into the different uh sh- a shop in one city and the same type of shop in another city, and they are not just called different things, but have different items. Even though they all kind of do the same thing, buff your stats, this idea of like, well, I want to go over here because I want herbal tea. I don't want my coffee and hot cocoa, so I have to go to this city. It does also give it some life. It does help in that way.
I do kind of wish that the shops were clearly labeled on the outside. It does annoy me when I have to guess
Hmm.
what type of shop I'm about to enter. Like, I don't think that would have taken too much power of the NES to just put a picture of coffee on the front or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they didn't need sprites anyway for the shops or like graphics. Like they could have just
Yeah.
had it
Like, the
have a
bookstore has books
yeah.
outside it,
Right. Yeah.
but sometimes they don't have anything. The other thing with the NPCs we didn't talk about is as you're fighting, they have dialogue.
Hmm.
And they will constantly be saying stuff on the lower third of the screen, like, "Oh no, I'm history, dude," or whatever it is, and you'll see their names. And even though we said, yeah, the different NPCs, their different fighting styles don't really matter for the most part, they do have different personalities, and it does, I
Yeah.
think, go a long way towards making it feel like it kind of matters who you're fighting, or at least it's a little bit of fun to have.
Hmm.
They yell barf, you know. It's
Yeah.
a
No, it
it,
is
ma-
good.
it gives it a very, I guess it's 89, but to me it feels 90s. It feels like dude, I'm gonna hurl kind of a kind of
Hmm.
dialogue that is fun.
Hmm.
Uh, well, River City Ransom, I think we need to give it a rating. What do you think?
Hmm. A rating, huh?
Yeah.
An
Now hold
IGN
on.
rating or just a oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, our IGN ratings and final thoughts as we move into our ratings segment of the show. Is it a game over or a continue from 1 to 10? We're gonna rate it again. Ratings.
Jesus. I mean, I love that you put the game over a
Mhm.
continuum there, a gimmick that we have adopted as our own and never used.
No, we frequently use it, but now that it's in the song, we will never
Mm,
forget it.
I see. Yeah, that's true. I will never forget to game over or continue. I might still not do it, but
Well, you
uh,
take the lead.
all right. So, I mean, I did think that this game was fun, and in some ways, this style of beat 'em up with RPG elements is more my style than a regular one. The game does lend itself to uh pick up and play for a couple minutes. Like I think it does a decent job of both being a good experience with multiple players that you can play with your buddy, as well as being the sort of thing that I can imagine if I owned this for a game system. Uh, like I might just sit down after school, play it for a half hour, and not really worry about what I was doing. Just kind of have fun beating up guys, and then every once in a while, be like, "Oh shit, look, I'm better now. I could do something." Um, I said that this reminds me of like early Flash games, that is, given that this is from '89 and not 2009 or whatever. Like that's a pretty like that's a compliment, I think, because like those are the sorts of things that I might have liked doing in middle school. Um, I think that the setting is fun. I think that eating the foods is fun. Um, the combat is a little bit like I don't the only real issue that I have with this game significantly is that there's not much more to it than what I just said. The idea of beating this game is not something that necessarily like you said you wished we had beaten it and I'm kind of like eh seems fine. It seems like a thing that you would eventually do if you owned it long enough. Um to me, this game works as something that is fun, just good fun. I mean, it's almost like a an old 90s parents idea of a video game, right? It's fun to just put on and mindlessly do stuff and then you're done, right? This is just candy, right? It's not like a meal in any real sense. But enjoyable. As far as a continue or a game over for me, this is the sort of thing that would be a continue if I was just like a kid with a couple games and this was one of them. This is exactly the sort of thing that I would do after school if I had it. But like as somebody who is now an adult and is now looking at all these other games, I don't know that I'm particularly inspired to move forward with it. When there's so many, like if I'm going to pick this up and play it, then why am I not playing this week's game instead or something like that? Um or like trying to make progress on a game that I wanted to beat that but didn't, like Link to the Past or something like that. Um, so on that note, I do still think that it's very good as a candy game. It's for me, it works for me as this kind of fun. So I do still want to rate it relatively highly. Um, and I think that I'm going to give River City Ransom let's say a 7.4, I think, out of 10.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution to the show.
You're welcome.
7.4 from Will. For me, the comp for this game is Double Dragon because that's really the only true beat 'em up we've played on the show so far. It's been a while since we've gone back to this genre. But for me, it's the NES version of Double Dragon. You neglected to give separate scores for those games.
Yeah.
Because you thought they were the same. In my opinion, the NES Double Dragon was far superior to the arcade version. I gave that game a 7.2. And this is very similar to that, at least on the surface. Where this game, the reason of, why would I come back to this game over anything else, for me is quite obvious. It's because there's a co-op option. For me, this game is a continue, and because I've played it before, and I'm sure I'll play it again for that reason. Because I do get a lot of satisfaction and joy out of just, if you want something simple to put on, you want to play a little beat 'em up with your buddy on the couch, this is a perfectly fine classic one to put on. It's simple. You don't got to think too hard about it, but it's silly. I love the aesthetic and the premise because it's very goofy and it's earnest, but in a goofy way. And you can just hang out on the couch and laugh and punch a bunch of guys and figure out, I don't know, where am I supposed to go? I don't know. What the fuck does the corn cobber do? I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I like. And that the stats element to it and the food buying really is the thing that elevates this to making it feel more like, there's a little bit more of an actual game here than just a purely mindless beat 'em up, even though is mostly what I'm coming to the table here for. There's a few of those little things that do hold it back. Like, yeah, the combat being simple is a strength. It's also a weakness. I feel like it's maybe a little too simple. Like just like one or two different moves you could do would go a long way, in my opinion. That is, I think, the only area maybe that the Double Dragon NES beats this one in. But everything else, it's superior. And sometimes like we said, there's some frustrating, weird stuff. Running into walls over and over again does just piss me off after a while. But overall, I think it's a very charming game, and it's one that I always think of fondly, and I would pretty much always be happy to throw on and play for half an hour or an hour or whatever. I will give this a 7.7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good score.
A couple other little notes about this. We kind of talked about differences between this game and the Japanese version, aside from the graphics changes. There are two other big differences that are really weird, in my opinion. One is, so as you said, in the River City Ransom, you can either choose novice or advanced mode. Well, in the original game, there were 3 difficulties. And for some reason, in America, they decided that we don't need those. and they just got rid of the easy mode. So novice is technically the normal difficulty in the original game. Why?
Well,
I
that
have
explains why it was
no
hard.
idea why they
Americans
decided to
want
do
their
that.
games hard.
Were they afraid you would beat it too fast, maybe? And they didn't want you to like finish it so easily? That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, which is again weird because like who cares about if you finish it, then it's like, okay, well then I'm not beating up guys anymore. Like that's
Well,
not
but
the
if
point.
it's the rental thing again, if you rent it, you don't
Yeah.
need to buy, or if you just return it to the store or something like that. Um, it just really bugs me when few games do this, but when a game doesn't have a medium option, because
Mm.
I'm like, I don't think I'm a novice. Like I don't want to play usually I do not want to play the easy mode in a game. I don't, I feel like I'm, I want to feel like I earn my victories. But then I also am not the guy who's looking for the ultra hard, tough challenge yourself thing. So I'm always picking normal. So in this one, now that I know novice is normal, it's fine. But not knowing that, it's just like, well, are you a little baby or are you an expert? I'm like, well, no, I need an in between option.
So if they just called this normal mode and advanced mode, and
I'd be fine.
There's no easy. Yeah, they just called it novice.
That's not that uncommon. There's plenty of games that just have normal, or sometimes like when you beat it the first time, you unlock hard mode. That would also make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it does also cause problems the other way where I'm like, novice, that's for me. And then I'm like, damn, this is hard. I'm getting my ass kicked.
Yeah, right. The other thing that really is a real problem, and again, I cannot in any way imagine why they decided to do this. The original game for the co-op has an option to turn off friendly fire. In the American one, if you punch your buddy, he gets hurt. and when you're playing and fighting on screen, you can do that by accident without trying all the time.
It's actually like really hard to double team a guy without accidentally punching your buddy. Like if there's one guy left on screen and your buddy's kind of struggling with him and you want to go over and help, you have to position yourself pretty correctly to make sure that you're hitting the enemy but not your buddy. And if your buddy moves, he then gets hit. And it's hard to position yourself. So there were points where like I would be trying to help you and I would hit you. And I think later on after we yelled a bunch about it, I was trying to hold back, but there were times where I was like, there's no fucking enemies on screen and John's over there fighting this guy and he's not dying. And boy, if there were two people fighting him, it sure would go faster and I could move on to the next screen and fight somebody. But I'm going to go over there and punch him is what I'm going to do.
I did sort of enjoy sometimes when you get into the rhythm of it, there is a little bit of a fun mini game of being prepared to, okay, he just punched the guy my way. I need to now quickly back up and then turn around and then punch him again before he has a chance to recover. That is kind of satisfying, but you would still be able to do that without the ability to hit each other.
I do think the game would. I don't think that this game would be too easy or less fun if you turned off friendly fire. It seems to me like friendly fire being off should be the default, and friendly fire turning on should be for if you enjoy yelling at each other, because that is fun.
Also, how many times you throw a weapon and then you just move into the path of it without realizing? It's like it's stupid. I don't want to deal with that shit. Maybe they could keep that on. I guess you could argue that, well, if you throw a chain, it's going to hurt, but maybe if I see my buddy, I pull my punch. There's compromises to be made. Anyway, that's what we thought about River City Ransom, but I wonder what they thought about it back in the day. Let's take a trip to Retro Review Corner.
Retro Review Corner.
All right, here we are.
I don't think I heard that one last time.
Yeah, it's a new one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, futuristic.
Sure.
Despite being retro.
Here's the truth. I could not find very many records of reviews on this game, and certainly not ones that were in English. The thing is, this game really was not a hit in the United States. There's a reason why, if you look at the entire Kunio-kun series, the majority of it after River City Ransom did not ever get localized because it just didn't do well over here. And so there were not very many magazines or anything giving it too much attention. I can just tell you, like I said, this is like the summary from Wikipedia because I couldn't find it. Either I couldn't find any actual records or images of these in different places, or there was like one that was in French, and I just didn't feel like translating that. Or like the Famitsu review it's always in Japanese, so there wasn't a lot of material out there this week. But Famitsu gave it a 28 out of 40, which is like okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's a weird scoring system. Okay.
We've talked about this before. They have 4 reviewers, and each one gives it an out of 10.
Right. Yeah, okay. I remembered somebody did that. Yeah.
EGM does that too, but Famitsu adds it up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a fine score.
Some people didn't like it. There was this, I guess, a Games Master TV show in the UK where the game was called Street Gangs. Much worse title.
Yeah.
He gave it a 32%.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the Wikipedia, if you just go to River City Ransom, it says Street Gangs redirects here. For Street Gangs, see Gang, which I thought was very funny because I did not know that when I was like, why?
Yeah, for Gang, see Gang Gang. For Gang Gang, see Gangnam Style. Oh.
Having fun over there?
I just want to know if you remember that.
I do.
So anyway, the reception was pretty mixed, and I don't really know what I assume this is one of those things where the game didn't really sell super well and wasn't beloved, but there was some group of kids who, for whatever reason, this was the thing they had on their NES, and over time those people had nostalgia for it, and then finally it got re-released and people rediscovered it and people said, oh, this is an interesting game. And now I feel like, even like 20 years ago, I felt that River City Ransom was a thing I had heard of and like had kind of a beat 'em up legacy. But it took a long road to get there. And now there's modern sequels to it that do some different things, which I haven't really played. I kind of have just stuck with this one. I have played the Super Dodgeball series, a couple of those games, which are technically part of this universe, but they're dodgeball games.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me from the titles. Like you said, I forget if you said they were also beat 'em ups, but like from the titles, I was like, I don't know if this Kunio-kun series is like all the same genre or if it's just kind of the same characters and universe or something.
I think they're mostly the same genre, but yeah, there's a few sports games in there. I don't know. Dodgeball is kind of fun. All right. Well, on that note, we do have a couple of emails and comments this week. Let's take a look over there.
Minor mail opening.
That's right. It's an MMO, a minor mail opening this week. Commenting on the Mario 64, our episode from last week, as well as more specifically the N64 controller itself and what the deal is with that thing. I'll read a couple of messages in succession and then we can respond to them both. How's that sound?
Sure.
So Avatar Protocol said, the whole discussion over the controller is extremely strange to me. I should recap. Last week we talked about how you hold the N64 controller, and I revealed that I hold it with both hands on the outer prongs, as opposed to perhaps the intended way that many people do, which is the left hand on the middle prong where the joystick is. Right?
Is this where Avatar Protocol reveals that he has 3 hands?
Avatar Protocol says, when the N64 controller came out, nobody knew how it would be used. Games that came out typically preferred the joystick, and the L button never got used as a result. But the Z button behind the controller got used for everything. And that being the case, how is it that Jonathan preferred to hold the controller from the left and reach over to the joystick from there? Reaching the joystick and the Z button would have been super uncomfortable, surely. Don't call me Shirley. And on a similar note, Steven Oh, sorry, it's Steve P, not Steven. It's the Steve we like. Woo! Almost had to read a Steven
Phew.
email. Thank God. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I was wondering why this email was so nice. And I assumed he was being sarcastic, but now I know it's a nice Steve.
Mm.
Steve P wrote in and said, Super Mario 64 is fantastic, but it came with a bit of a learning curve for 3D gaming and the Nintendo 64's controller. I remember my brother had an odd grip on the controller. Like Jonathan, he would hold the controller by the left prong and reach over to the stick with his thumb. His right hand held up the controller from the right side, and he would hit the Z button with his right middle finger. I never saw anyone else hold it like that. Making Mario walk slowly in Mario 64 was far more tricky for me than pointing the camera. I'm not sure exactly why, but I had trouble adjusting to the idea of push it only a little and you move only a little. Thankfully, they included a way to crawl. Without that, I don't know that what I would have done about piranha plants and narrow walkways. I also was not a fan of the underwater controls at first. You need to steer yourself with the stick and then thrust with the jump button. Why can't I push the stick to move like on land? Flight controls make sense while flying with the wing cap, sure, but swimming is not flying, crazy as that sounds. Congrats on 3 seasons. I'm loving the sound bites for each segment. That's solid production value. I also really liked your Nick Arcade. It was a fun season closer, and I hope you will do it again, Steve P.
Well, there's one vote in favor of all of the stingers and another vote for gimmicks. So I think we're doing good so far. Listen, Jonathan just has really big hands, you know? So he's got no problem like this.
I didn't do it, but I did, because I mean I could go grab one right now, but I don't want to. I was curious, like if I picked up an N64 controller right now, so I could just like feel it and be like, how far does my thumb go, and is it as weird as they're saying it seems? But I just can only say every other controller other than like an Atari joystick, right? If we're not talking about arcades, virtually every other home console controller, you hold it from the outermost edges.
Yeah.
So to me, that's just where my brain lives on this one. And the idea of holding it like that with one hand in the middle and having half of it like hanging off to the left feels wrong. That
part doesn't exist. It's not part of the controller. Ignore it.
I really don't like. I wonder if it's different for left-handed people, because I feel like I would even maybe I could see like holding the middle with my right hand and using my left hand on the left side more so because my right hand is dominant, and then I'm like the more weight is in my dominant hand or something. I don't know.
I guess I see what you're saying, because but it's not like there's actual weight there. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, but
it's
it's
fine.
something. I mean, left-handed people need left-handed mice and shit, so it's not like
right. But that you would only. You're just saying it would do that because there's like more weight there. Like the way the buttons are laid out, you would never do that, because then your fingers are on a joystick and a D-pad.
Well, yeah. I'm
and
saying
all the buttons
you would have to
so.
redesign the controller. I'm saying more like in the abstract, like
a left-handed person would like the current controller better.
But maybe, or I'm saying at least for me, I think it would make more sense in my brain to like grip the middle, like, cause that's like your main part with I don't want to grip the middle at all, to be clear. Yeah. I don't, that's not my style.
You just have to ignore that outer bit. It's not real. They just shoved a bunch of extra plastic on it for no reason. Don't worry about that.
I just don't. Like I said, I've been playing it, holding it this way since I was a kid. I've never had trouble with the Z button.
I'm going to glue an extra horn onto the side of one of your real controllers and be like, now you have to not hold on to any of the buttons, because that's the outer one.
I actually have to hold it. Shut up for a second. You're annoying. I actually do have a third-party N64 controller, which does not have the 2 outer prongs. Like, it doesn't have the big prongs, you know what I mean? Like you hold it like a normal controller, and then there is just a middle thing that still comes down because that's where the Z button is and stuff. Which I guess ostensibly that makes it easier to hold in the middle because there's not a thing blocking your hand, but I still hold it from the outer edge. I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, I've always been able to hit the Z button. It always felt fine to me. I think it's, it's also, I'm sure it's one of those things that it's like, I also hold a pencil weird, but like if you do something like that since you were a kid, then your body just like adapts to it and you can't,
You just learned
it's hard
it wrong,
to change.
so now, yeah.
I wouldn't say wrong.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so you're calling Steve P's brother wrong.
I am, yes, correct.
Okay, well, great. We just lost a listener.
I will say I 100% agree. This is another way to lose a listener, is when I agree with them about my video game difficulties. Because then they're like, wait a second, I'm not that bad. But I do 100% agree with the... my brain has difficulty tilting the control stick only a little bit. Like, I want to go in that direction. Right? I don't want to go a little bit in that direction. Why do I have to go so slow? It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I don't think
bad.
that's the same problem he's talking about.
It's difficult to hold it only a little bit. I naturally am just like, no, push it all the way.
It's not difficult.
It's hard. It's kind of hard.
I
understand. I understand the swimming controls the way that they are also. It does make sense to me, but I do also find them very difficult.
It is weird. I mean, they are a completely different game, essentially. Like, you have to learn an entirely new control method when you're swimming. Mm-hmm. So it is a bit of a brain burner, I guess.
A brain burner.
What, you got a problem with that?
No, I like it.
I just tried to search up to see general populace opinions on the N64 controller. There's a picture here of a Japanese N64 manual, which I assume was the same in America, but in English. And they show a diagram, and it shows 3 ways to hold the controller. One with your left hand in the middle and right hand on the right. One with your left hand on the left and your right hand in the middle, like I was talking about, hypothetically.
Yeah, but then you don't use buttons. What the fuck?
Some
what
games
game
might not.
That?
Some games might not. And one with, like I hold it, with both hands on the outer edges. Yeah, I don't know what the text underneath says. I assume it's like telling you when.
I mean, yeah, like to me, it feels like that is entirely based on what game you're playing and what buttons you need to hit, right? That's why the one with the joystick and the D-pad is so weird. But like, yeah, 100%. If I had an N64 controller and I was like somehow playing an NES game or something on it, like I don't think they had backwards compatibility. But if that was the case, I'd absolutely hold it from the outer prongs because that's how you would get the D-pad. Or an SNES game where I also have the bumpers too. So it's just you swap it based on what buttons you need.
Yeah, but I don't like that. I can't be swapping like that. That messes with my brain. There's a way that I like to hold it, and that's the way that I hold it. I did a quick Google Translate on what this manual says, and they actually refer to the positions as right position, left position, and the way I do it, Famicom position.
I mean, that's what I'm saying over here. That's for the Famicom games.
But underneath it,
they should have called it right, wrong in Famicom is what they should have said. There's a right way to do it.
Underneath, like why you would use them, it just is like, well, if you're mostly using those buttons, do this.
yeah, there you go.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. I mean, know.
It's whatever. You can do things a weird way. Like, I'm not gonna. Far be it from me to say that it's wrong to do it the weird way, because that's what I'm doing with every video game.
I'm just saying there are dozens of us, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not alone here. A lot. I think more people than you think are holding the controller the way I do it.
Write in if you hold the controller the way John does it.
If you don't write in. We don't need to hear from you.
We might.
Well, it's been a good episode. Listeners, let us know how you feel about the N64 or River City Ransom or whatever you have to say about video games in general. Leave a comment on YouTube or email us, badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. We'd also love it if you liked the video and subscribed, or you could help out by rating and reviewing us on Apple Music. I always call it iTunes, but it's been Apple Music for like 15 years because I don't use it, so I don't remember.
Right.
You can also go ahead and check out our Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames. For only $5 a month, you get access to our Discord channel where we're chatting up a storm. And you'll get bonus weekly episodes or additional audio podcasts where we talk about other stuff. And you'll sometimes get early access to our additional Worst with Games videos. Like you got Mario 64 early last week, and you're going to be getting some River City Ransom action early this week. It's there probably right now if you're a patron. Otherwise, fucking wait.
Wow. There's so much value.
This week on the Patreon, as I said, we will be discussing the movie adaptation of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The World! Be sure to check out all our socials and stuff in the links down below, including our Twitch, twitch.tv/badwithgamespodcast, where there's a pretty good shot. If you tune in this Saturday, you will get to see Will finish a complete run with no warps of the original Super Mario Brothers on
There's
NES.
a decent chance. I was very close this week.
Yeah. I was really rooting for you because I really didn't want to have to watch you play anymore. I was probably as anxious as you were.
You don't have to. All you have to do is sit there and occasionally check chat to make sure nobody's being annoying about trying to get my Discord.
I can't help it. You're just so captivating. I get hypnotized by your gameplay. And then sometimes I get pissed off and I'm like, I got to mute him for a while. He's fucking annoying the shit out of me. Anyway, your mileage may vary, but you're going to want to tune in to see possibly the conclusion finally this week of that chapter. Next week, check it out, my friends. We're going to be talking about Dragon Quest III. Dragon Quest III from 1988 on the NES, also known as Dragon Warrior 3, of course, in the States. We'll be playing that little old role-playing game, returning to the world of the slimes. Look forward to it. Well, I'll see you next week. Gamers out.
Gamers out. What, no Sting for Gamers out?
Shut up. There's music plays under that part.